Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Is there life on other planets? Scientists may be one step closer to an answer.
There is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
Oh yeah, Occam's razor be damned. We are here to talk Tic Tacs, saucers, and spheres. Break out your cigars, because at the end of each episode, Ronnie talks about stars. It's the bit of both worlds podcast. Ronnie hasn't put a, you guys, what I want to say to fans out there, anybody who has, given this show a like before, we know what you like. You like the shorts. You like that they're giving thousands of views and new subscribers on the shorts. Ronnie hasn't done a fucking short this week.
Oh, no.
Welcome in.
But shout out to Two Towns for making a tropical cosmic crisp cider. That's pretty dope.
Why haven't we seen shorts?
It's been a busy week.
It's summertime even.
It is summertime.
You're still wearing pants.
I got shorts under my pants.
Well,
yeah.
You need to put
I'm
those
a man
shorts,
of many pants.
You need to put those shorts out there so the world can see them.
Yeah, they are hidden right now. So I guess we'll take off these pants and really give you guys a show.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. We have some interesting topics to talk about today. So I actually want to throw a curveball to Ronnie first. This is a curveball on the show. We like to do this, okay? And my curveball here is, you know what we're going to talk about, which I didn't tell you we're going to talk about this week, right?
What?
Abductions, Ronnie. Alien
abductions?
abductions
Okay.
of human beings, or even and let's not even. We can count the cattle in there, I guess. Cattle mutilation stuff, but definitely, for sure. Let's talk for a second about human beings being abducted by aliens. Ronnie, do you believe in that at all?
To be honest, no. I really don't.
Why not?
It's a hard one to explain. I still just feel like more, if anything, is coming here to Earth. Why would they take any of us? They can study us from afar without any need for them to even contact us already, right? So why would they need to take anybody? What purpose would it serve to even send them back after they took them?
Yes. So I like that last part you said, because that, I think, is very worthy. Now, Why would they take us? That's a little bit of an open-ended. I like that last part we said. What would be the part of you
I actually do regret saying that first part right away. I mean, hell, dude.
It's an open. It's not that it's wrong. It's just an open-ended.
True,
thing.
but even us as humans used to take, or still do, take people and use them for scientific gain. Like if you look at, who the fuck was it? Benjamin Franklin. He had bodies in his entire house that were used for science and yada yada. A lot were done through grave robbing.
Yeah, now that's when they're dead, but yeah.
I guess aliens, if they did want to take us, there'd be no reason to return us. So we'd probably just be killed and used for science for them, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to give you, too, what I believe here at the end, but I do want to throw some... But you know what? Let's do it this way. I'm going to give you what I believe in it now, and then we'll throw you the other stuff, though. Ronnie says he doesn't believe. Here's a shocker. Ready, you guys? On this alien podcast, and I'm the believer. I don't believe it either. I don't believe it either at all. Not as far as him. But I would say that if we're being real, and I don't want to make anybody mad here, but the truth of the matter is, when you hear about these spacecraft being seen and they're filmed and there's data on them and things of how fast they're moving and whatnot, these are true anomalies. These are here in front of our face. Now, it doesn't mean that it's aliens, but there is a lot of data now, right, available, and we're going to talk about even more kind of data of materials and such later on the show, but there's a lot of things that are worth being looked at. And when I think of abductions, I generally think my blanket statement for not believing it is that what would be easier, like it's not like you can just discount witness testimony and then the whole thing's gone because that's all it's built on. It's
It
only
really
built
is.
on people saying something. There is no film stuff, there is no data. Now I know. All right, so now I don't believe in it, and that's why. Now I will give you some things. Have you heard about, you know, the strange pieces of metal found in bodies and stuff like that? Of people that said they've been abducted before, and they do X-rays. There is a lot of this stuff. And then they're like, why do you have this small little like cylindrical metal object that's by your brain? Like it was placed in there without wounds, and you know there's stuff that. So that's.
I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that stuff in general? Like a general take on it?
That kind of shit's actually really fascinating to me, but I don't think it has much to do with abduction. It's just a piece of metal, right? Is it a piece type of metal that they can't identify, or?
So I believe that I've heard in some cases, yes, like the metal is very strange. We're going to talk about strange metals and UFO crash material later on this show, but I do think that there are cases where there are, but it's not a lot. This, by the way, you guys, I hope this is working because this computer's flipping out. I
I was
definitely
gonna say, what
need,
just happened to your screen?
listen, it says it's still recording, so I think we're all good. But I do need to clear my computer.
That's
Back to
fair.
the point of what I was saying, though. Yeah, that I believe there are some times when they cannot. But I will. So to grant you, and I'm gonna shoot it back to you here. Most of them are definitely just a piece of metal, and the only strangeness about it, like 90% of them, and the only strangeness about it is, wow, it's so small and it's weird how you have it like placed like behind your ear or like under your big toe or something. You know what I mean?
Okay. So here's a fascinating thing. When you get like a foreign body stuck inside of you, say a tiny cylindrical piece of metal,
Yeah.
if it goes into your bloodstream, not necessarily bloodstream, it can, but if it's small enough, it can travel in your
Yeah,
body, and
yeah.
it will come
They're
out
all
once it's
supposedly
rejected.
extremely small.
So once your body actually decides to reject it, instead of just keeping it traveling, it can come out anywhere in your body. So if you were injured, say, in your arm, and a piece of metal got lodged in there, and it just so happened to have got caught just right, and it can fucking travel through you, it might have came out
They're all
your fucking ear.
incredibly small, so that fits that, huh?
It kind of does,
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even if you get, say,
Like
a
a
bullet
fragment,
wound,
like a little small.
like if you get a fragment from a bullet wound that's
Yeah.
really tiny,
Yeah.
it can
That's
travel
how
in
these
your
are as
bloodstream
well.
and your body and fucking come out somewhere
That's
else.
how these are
Yeah.
as well. They're measured like within the centimeter, like half a centimeter thing, and,
Yeah.
and almost like a human hair size kind of deal. So that kind of fits the bill. Okay, and then
Especially if you're like an intravenous drug user and like you say a part of the needle snaps inside of you. That's an easy way to get it traveling, and would be somewhat cylindrical with a
So I do want to be clear here, really quick, for a guy that didn't do any shorts for this channel over the last week. You're not saying, are you, that all like alien believers or people that say are heroin addicts, correct?
That is not what I was saying.
All right, I just wanted to make sure and clarify that.
But
all right.
But now I'm curious if you're a heroin addict. What is it
Oh
called?
my God. All right, nice, Ronnie. Throw it in the comments. Dump it in. Okay, so there is another aspect to this, and that would be that you had people like Jacques Vallée, who's a famous UFOologist, right? And you know, I'm a big fan of Jacques Vallée. I don't believe everything that he says, but I actually do believe that, first off, it's not debatable. The guy's incredibly smart. And the guy has brought to the forefront in the past, right, of course, a lot of very credible kind of things. He's someone who's studied this. Like, he is one of the most famous people, literally, and the most knowledgeable people on all history, all readings, any article ever, ancient tech, everything, UFO, alien related. Jacques Vallée knows about it. Now, he convinced, oh man, look this up for me, Ronnie, because we're doing this live goddamn podcast.
Yeah,
And
what am I looking up?
He convinced a man that who was a Harvard professor, and his name is escaping me, a very famous guy, that to look into abductions, because he's like a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist, I believe from Harvard as well, like that was very renowned in the scientific community and everything, and in psychiatry. He was convinced after talking to a so-called abduction, patients, that they were telling the truth.
Is this
Say it's an easy name too. It's escaping me. This is good.
Edward Kansian?
No, absolutely not.
No. Oh wait, Dr. Mack.
Yeah, John Mack. John
Yeah.
Mack, there it is. Thank you, Ronnie, because
Yeah.
I was looking too and couldn't. John Mack, okay? Dr. John Mack is literally, and you can stay on your phone looking up to say something about this, an incredibly respected person that had a stellar career where he never stepped out of bounds into strangeness, and that is not how he made his name. John Mack was incredibly convinced after this is the most interesting thing as a non-believer, that aliens, that if they have been here, have abducted human beings, and that's me, right? That I don't really believe that. This is the most interesting thing that I have heard about this, because this guy basically threw his career away for no good reason, essentially, by saying that. And then he was hit by a car. Here's another thing. Hit by a car.
2004.
Yeah. Now check this out. Walking out in the street and didn't look, and he got hit by a car. You know who else got hit by a car on that day? In England. Didn't he die in England as well? I believe. You know who else got hit by a car?
Yeah, he did.
On the same day in England
Huh.
as him? Another John Mack. So there's a conspiracy about in the same town. So there's
In London?
Yeah. So there's a conspiracy about, oh really, 2 John Macks just walked down the street not looking. Nobody was arrested. He's not a drunk driver, and 2 of them died. Out of maybe 3 people that day died of a car, 2 of them were John Macks.
That's
so
pretty wild.
so there's a but. This is, besides that, the most credible thing that I've heard as somebody who doesn't believe that if aliens have been here, they abduct people. The most credible thing I've heard towards abductions being real is John Mack being absolutely convinced after being convinced and talking to Jacques Vallée and these people to just say to him, you are a psychiatrist, you understand these. You literally go and talk to people who are UFO abductees, supposedly. And he did that, and when he came away from it and doing all sorts of different techniques with this. I believe there was like sleep study stuff done. There were definitely hypnosis stuff done a lot with these people. And he's an expert in this. And he has had a stellar career in only this, had no interest in aliens before this. No interest. And he talked to these people, and he did studies on these people, and he was convinced they simply can't be lying, because they express it, and I can get things out of them, and especially in the hypnosis things, treatments and whatnot, where you can misconstrue it as something else, but he said that trauma is too real. It's too real.
That's what
and
I was
know
just,
what real
actually,
trauma
yeah, I was
is.
just reading kind of that part of the quote.
Go ahead and read the article. Pick up.
it was something where he had quoted on BBC saying, "I would never say yes, there are aliens taking people, but I would say there's a compelling, powerful phenomenon here that I can't account for.
Yeah.
It's mysterious, yet I can't know what it is, but it seems to me that it invites deeper, further inquiry."
Yeah.
So
And
he
John-
wanted to look into it even more, it seems
Yeah.
like. And
Yeah, he became. Here's the other thing. I will tell you. You guys can look this up. John Mack became obsessed with this stuff, like in an obsessive kind of way, where his colleagues and other people around him,
Yeah.
for a guy that was so damn smart and never was into conspiratorial things of any sort, really, and just lived a normal life where he studied, in psychiatry and all these things. Like to be convinced into being like, I'll talk to some of these people, and then be fascinated, write a book about it, go on interviews and podcast, go on all these interviews around the world and talk about this stuff and on live television and whatnot, and to have everyone around him go, he got so obsessive over this stuff. It took over his life, and he was not that kind of person as an older man, even when he died,
Yeah.
I mean, that is the most compelling thing, and it still doesn't shift me to believing it, but I will say that is more important to me.
He states it stated a
testimony.
lot in what I was reading that he does firmly kind of believe that like the abductions are happening to an extent,
Yeah.
whereas through a traumatic experience, the person's own brain could be making up scenarios that they then start believing themselves.
Yeah.
Which that's one way to go about it, or there's another way of like, oh, I took some shrooms and I seen a UFO and then I fucking just tripped like crazy.
So
But-
he wrote a book on this stuff,
Right.
and he does say that that he could tell the difference between that kind of thing. That's what got him obsessive
fair.
about this. He said that
because it was so
he can tell the
genuine,
difference if they're not telling a story and lying, like there's something there, but he can tell enough at least to associate it to an experience because they were on hallucinogens, or versus a traumatic experience that doesn't
causing
account,
delusions.
causing like real trauma.
Yeah.
These people like really like, and listen, when you put them in these different studies, they all would kind of coincide with the fact that of what they were saying, which is crazy, because what they are saying is that literally I was on board a craft. These aliens came up to me, they told me it's okay. They would do experiments on me, and then people are in these therapy sessions and these hypnosis sessions, really crying frantically or literally screaming in terror. And I just want to get the gun. I want to get the gun. I want to get my gun. And
So who's the
crazy shit, dude?
So who's to say that the trauma wasn't based on an actual abduction, not by, say, aliens, but by actual people?
Because, well, yes. So I'm telling you up front again that I don't really believe that if aliens have been there, that they've abducted human beings.
The way I'm saying that is
And
in a
put them
sense
back,
of,
but-
like, say they were kidnapped, and the only way their brain could cope with that type of trauma was to set it up as that.
Well, that's why I was telling you. So I'm saying I don't believe this. So I'm not like for it. But to give you the contrary,
I was
to
just
that, no.
thinking of
To give you the
different
contrary to what you
reasons,
just asked, again, he's saying, and this is what got him, that he could really tell the difference. So if somebody has a traumatic experience, they got kidnapped. Why would they lie? Why would they have that experience? He believes for sure. Why would evidence support that? As far as therapy goes, in every sense, that they did have but then they throw in lying about that it was aliens or this or that.
It doesn't have to be lying to them.
Well,
to
but
the
see,
patient
that
themselves.
is where no. But see, that is the important part, because him as a psychiatrist, those are the things that I'm saying. He was very upfront about. This is what got me obsessive about it, because I can tell the difference. So if you give him a vague story from childhood, he is not going to be able to tell this part wasn't right. This part was. He's going to, but you give him a general. But if you told him, you had a traumatic experience, he puts you in a hypnosis session, he has multiple hundreds of therapy sessions and gets to know you. As a psychiatrist, he was very confident that he could tell the difference, never as far as like these small details, but the difference between somebody would have, what he was saying in a quote basically is that somebody would have to be lying. They would intentionally have to be lying if it wasn't a childhood experience they don't remember that well, and they're an adult and tell me that 4 years ago I wasn't just abducted, I wasn't just taken, I was on a craft. These were aliens, their heads were large, their bodies were small and skinny, all these details. They would have to be lying, and that is what he was confident that I would be able to know if people were flat out lying to me in that kind of way. Do you understand what I'm... Does that answer the question?
I wasn't asking the question.
Yeah, you said... Well, yeah, you were.
No,
you
I was making a statement pretty much. It was more
like how
just,
would he know the difference? But
I mean, in a way,
he
he's trained to know the difference.
That he did.
But again,
he said if it's childhood, it makes all the difference.
Right.
Because you don't remember as much.
Yeah, sure. But if it's somebody that's been kidnapped, escaped, and didn't have any recollection of who kidnapped them, anything like that, through any kind of actual, like, brain trauma, like injuries, that could have caused any type of amnesia, and they still had a recollection of being kidnapped. They couldn't recognize any of the people. It was in a foreign environment, major traumatic experience. They set up this scenario in their own head.
Absolutely.
Like it's
more.
It's more just
it's
more just a blanket kind of statement, or just thinking of other ways that these people could rationalize it in their own head to say they were abducted.
Put the stamp on it, folks. We've debunked this one. Everybody's lying if they said they've ever been taken or abducted. They're fucking liars. You know it and I know it. Alright, listen. Also, to end that, what do you feel about this? Ronnie, you specifically actually asked me to ask you this question at the end of this, so I will, per you. But what do we think about... I guess, how do you want me to state this, Ronnie? Like, so you were saying that before that people that always usually say the aliens do some anal stuff is like gay people that don't want to come out because they've been fucking. You know what I'm saying? And then they don't. Is that... How'd you want me to ask that question? So you thought that every person that said aliens did butt stuff, they're just gay people with repressed memories about doing stuff in the butt.
I need you to rephrase the question.
Okay. Wow. I mean, you're obsessed with this question. Okay. Do you believe that every person that says aliens abducted them and they touched their butt or put a thing up there is a gay person with repressed memories about sexual experiences with other men, and saying that they're ashamed of it, so they want to believe that it was aliens?
Oh no, that was actually more us trying to talk about our friend Gage, and if he has any repressed memories.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. That was fair, because he says actually, if you don't, we have a friend Gage that fucking he says that he was taken up by aliens, and he goes, I swear to God, like, I didn't want them to do it, but they were, like, doing butt stuff to me, and we just think that, God, but hey,
this episode's not for kids.
We just think that, like, you're our friend, so just, it's gonna be okay, just tell us that you liked it, and it's fine, dude, we'll still play video games with you.
You know, it really sucks that he doesn't even watch this. He's our friend. He doesn't even watch our show. I'm going to send him this. He's watching this now because I'm sending it to him. And I'm from the future, and you're fucking welcome for that. All right. Yeah. Moving
the fuck on.
Yeah, definitely moving on.
Okay, so I have something pretty cool to talk about. That is as far as UFO crash materials. You know we're big fans of David Grush on this show. We've done a lot of David Grush content where, you know, I don't jump right into believing him, neither does Ronnie. But I think that...
I do think that man's still going to go down somewhat in history.
I really do. I'm not even joking because I think...
Good or bad. I mean...
Good or bad. But no, I think good. Either way. Because either this is what he's saying it is, or this is some sort of strange language to uncover something else highly illegal that the Pentagon is doing. I mean, that I feel very strongly about. This guy has got a lot of interest in Congress. But anyways, speaking of all this David Grush stuff, UFO crash retrieval programs, are you guys aware of Gary Nolan? Gary Nolan is a guy that if you would say, well, where is this stuff, right? There's crash retrieval stuff. So he's totally unconnected to the David Grush stuff, we think, right? But maybe not. Because when people say that we were in possession, and there are certain aerospace companies, Bigelow Aerospace, they're the ones with the alien stuff. And also, you know, just that people are in possession and scientists of retrieved non-human origin craft. Well, Gary Nolan, just straight out in public, and not recently, for a while now, has been saying that, you know, he is in possession and speaks openly about of supposed UFO crash material from a spacecraft that is non-man-made.
God, this guy's got a hell of a bio, Gary Nolan.
Go ahead and read it real quick because Gary Nolan is very impressive.
Has published over 300 research articles and is the holder of 40 U.S. patents. Been honored as one of the top 25 inventors at Stanford University. Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, I told you, Gary Nolan. So this guy's very. He also those patents. You know, I know you're saying he holds a lot of them, 20 of them, whatever, but
40.
But 40 of them, for God's sakes. But I know one of them is a machine that he actually uses to be able to look down deep at 0.001 of down to the smallest degree, which was vastly further and zoomed in more than any other instrument we have ever had to look at particles and isotope ratios within pieces of metal and or rock or anything. And all of the top leading laboratories in the entire world use a machine that he designed and patented. That is his most famous. So using that same machine, Gary Nolan has come to acquire pieces of supposed UFO crash from, he says, this is to quote him, not necessarily the government. That's a quote, right? But like people that bring me this stuff.
Yeah.
Why would you say it's definitely the fucking government, and they came to him because he also talks in separate interviews that he's done about people from the government and or to quote him again, and or working with the government, and came to his fucking lab, came to his office, and asked him to look at these things. So he has looked at them, and he has come to a conclusion that they would either be, they're definitely, let's say, if they were not man-made, which would cost you tens of thousands of dollars to make, ready for this, the penny-sized piece that he is studying, right, that supposedly came off of a space, the metals, not rock, but metals that are from something, he has also been given materials before. Don't think this guy hasn't been given materials, and he talks about this where he says, this is from a plane, an American plane that we made in 1952 at this Air Force. I mean, this guy knows how to look at metals to that kind of extent and can just straight up throw out the people giving him stuff that he's not going to be confused about what he's looking at here. So he says that based on the isotope ratios of the material that he is in possession of, they are definitely, if it wasn't designed, they are not from here. If it was designed by human beings here, that less than a penny size of metal that he has would have cost somewhere around $20,000 to $30,000 to make that. Back in the 70s, when it was recovered, and there were and there were no machines that were able to look at metals like that. I forgot to mention that part when I told you about this.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned
And then
it.
dropped on a beach in Brazil, where the infamous Ubatuba crash site of the UFO was on that very beach where this material was found and brought to him with the knowledge that this is UFO crash material from Ubatuba in Brazil, the infamous Ubatuba UFO crash site in Brazil. And he studied this.
Say it one more time for everyone.
Ubatuba.
Yeah.
So he is in possession of this, right? And has looked down into the molecules of this thing and said based on the isotope ratios and the thin layering, right? Thinner than a human hair between all of the different materials that make up this metal, which was mostly mercury, right? Which would burn up in the atmosphere had it not had thin layers, thinner than the human hair, placed between it of other kinds of alloys and metals that would cause it to not burn up. But you need a lot of mercury, which there's a lot of mercury things that are talked about, as well as how UFOs might work, spinning around mercury in the center of it. Okay, I mean, so this is a 90% mercury, but with the thinnest layers of different alloys in between it. Definitely designed. It was designed. Things don't come like this. This is another thing he talked about. Well, let me start there. What do you think about all that, Ronnie? And I've told you about this guy, Gary Nolan.
Yeah.
And you want materials for him to study. This guy's very credible, and he even says, is this proof? No, but I think I have something that is proof that it was created when people probably couldn't have created it from when it was found, and we didn't have the means to look at it then. But also, it is from a metal from some sort of a ship. It's a designed metal, not natural, and I have it in my possession, and it doesn't make sense. The isotope ratios are way off, and they don't make sense that it could be in a solid object.
I think that is actually very fascinating.
It is very cool.
It really is. I do find it very strange.
Yeah.
Like just a teeny tiny piece of it. Like how big did you say it was?
It's
like the
smaller
size of
than this. It's slightly smaller, I believe, than the penny. It's no bigger than a penny.
Okay, I was gonna say like a dime or a penny. Okay.
Yeah. It's no bigger than the size of a penny. And he has a couple of them. He's like I said.
Is he the only one that's had eyes on the thing, or is other?
No, he was brought this by people
By
that
other
came into
people,
his
okay.
office.
That's pretty cool.
Not necessarily the government.
Not necessarily the government. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool.
I think so too.
I wish there was. Are there pictures or anything of like zoomed in on the actual?
I'm putting them up right now.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
They're
Because
right
I'd like to see a side by side of like what the first piece looked like with the actual isotopes that we know versus the one that.
Let me let let me let Gary speak for himself. And beforehand, I'm going to tell you, we're going to play some audio. This is from the Lex clips from the Lex Friedman podcast, which is an outstanding podcast. It talks about all sorts of subjects, and not just conspiracies, not just UFOs like us, but yeah. Let me play a clip if I can, and I apologize ahead of time if if I cannot play just this audio. Then yeah, you'll be fast forwarded through this part.
And so then we had two pieces that came from two different chains of custody, both claimed to be from the same object. At least physically, when you look at the two things, they look the same, right? So we took small fragments of each of them. We put them in an instrument called a secondary ion mass spec, which is an extremely sensitive instrument, and it can see down to 0.0001 mass units, which is important for, let's say, more arcane reasons, but it's a sensitive instrument. And so one of the chains of custody, we had two pieces from the same chain of custody, and then two pieces from the other chain of custody. One of them had completely normal magnesium isotope ratios, magnesium 24, 25, 26, and the other was off. Not just like slightly off, way off, and they were both off to the same extent. So, I mean, it was sort of like you had an internal control of what was normal, and you had this other one which was wrong. And so you're left with kind of an open question. Was this a hoax? Were these two chains of custody, one of them a hoax, that somebody purposefully introduced those things? Because you could do it. It would cost a lot. I mean, at the time that this was found, I guess the 1970s or so, might have been earlier, I forget. The amount that I had would have cost several tens of thousands of dollars to make. And again, it's not something you would just throw around. And why would you do it in the hope that some guy 30 years from then would pick it up and study it?
Yeah, it's a very subtle troll.
It's a long-term plan.
So yeah, I think that there's no reason you'd do that. And also, he doesn't touch on this, but what I wonder is if this is so expensive today even to make, never mind 30 years ago, would we even have, I mean, he doesn't touch on this, would we even have the technology back then as we do now to make this thing that would cost tens of thousands of dollars in nowadays? You know?
Yeah. It is fascinating. I have one that's also fascinating.
What you got, Ronnie?
Have you heard, this is very recent, have you heard of the Harvard professor, it's Avi Loeb?
Avi Loeb. I'm a big Avi Loeb guy.
Yeah.
Of course I am. He has the different satellites, right? That he's getting things from.
Sure.
Yeah. And
you
ran that sled. Like Santa Claus.
So
like Santa.
Yeah. So you know about the meteor that landed in the waters of Papua New Guinea back in about 2014?
Yes, sir. Tell the people.
Yes.
Preach, Ronnie. Preach.
This one's cool. So with about near certainty, the U.S. Space Command confirms at about 99.999% that this material from the meteor came from another solar system.
Jesus. You know.
So it goes on. It's very cool.
Let me just cut you.
Yeah.
So he does. I'm just giving the feed away, but he found this on the oceans by running like a magnetic sled.
Yes.
Right around the crash site.
The size of Boston, bro.
Yeah.
It wasn't a small crash.
Yeah,
site.
it wasn't small. So this is a lot of luck. I mean,
it is
to even find that a lot of money.
It's very cool. They have about 50 pieces in total, but yeah, I was talking about the combing the ocean floor with a sled full of magnets to their boat. But they found 10 spherules, which are like almost perfect
Circles.
Metallic marbles.
Yeah.
And when you look at them through a microscope, they have very distinct like colors. You know, they had gold, blue, brown, some of which resemble a miniature of the Earth,
Yes.
which was very
Yes.
fascinating.
Yes.
But yeah, they found about 50 of these things in total.
When is this article from? Because I've heard about
July
this.
9th, 2023.
Okay, so yeah, now let me say why that's so cool, because that is very, what is that, yesterday? That's
Yeah.
yesterday. Now let me tell you why that's so cool, because I have heard about Avi Loeb before he even went out on this latest quest, where he was funded by an unnamed source. Psst, maybe the government. It might be the government, you guys. We don't know, but funded by an anonymous source, a lot of money to fund this project for him to go look for this, because they liked his credentials, because Avi Loeb has a way of using telescopes before this, where he would look out into space for specifically for alien life in a very specific way
So I'm gonna
that gets
interrupt.
away from the chatter of space junk and our satellites
Yeah.
out there.
So what I really liked about this article that I'm reading.
It's new, and he was
no,
saying,
no, just shut up.
oh well, it's new, and he was saying that when he found them, he has to still go back and test them.
Yeah, sure.
So now
But
they're saying
likening to one of our recent episodes, and your theory about how it is like our Voyager and whatnot.
yeah.
He himself, Avi Loeb, likens the situation to any of the Voyager spacecrafts launched by NASA.
What does that mean?
He thinks that, so they calculated its speed outside the solar system, about 60 kilometers per second, faster than 95% of the all stars in the vicinity of the sun. And it was made of materials stronger and tougher than even iron meteorites, while moving faster than 95% of all the stars within the vicinity of the sun. Could be a spacecraft from another civilization or some technological gadget.
That is, that's fitting the theory.
It does, and that fits your that's what I wanted to get at. Was that it fits your
the
theory?
That does fit the theory, doesn't it?
Avi Loeb himself, a fucking Harvard professor, likes that theory.
Avi Loeb is the
Yeah.
man. Yeah, and so again, I'm sorry, but that's what I wanted to get at, is that I saw these interviews about this stuff that he was doing this, and I saw one, I mean, it was like a week ago or more, when he said he found these, but he said, I need to go back. He was literally doing interviews from the boat in the middle of the ocean, where he needs to go back and have them tested. So this is official brand new news that he's had them tested, is what you're saying. And they definitely, he thinks, are not, he's safe to say, saying these are not from our solar system.
Yeah, the whole U.S. Space Command, 99.999% certainty that they came from another solar system.
And Gary Nolan, you guys. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's material, and it don't make any sense, and it's here. So this is the kind of evidence that I really get intrigued about, really. When you combine these things. This one being stated that it's not from our solar system, that was what Gary Nolan theorized about his items that are separate from this, from a separate supposed crash site. That's what he kind of theorizes about with that. But now it's like, now we know in this case, okay, they are outside our solar system, as Gary Nolan theorized as well. And his pieces, I bet if they should give these pieces they found, Avi Loeb in them, to Gary I study those. I wonder if those isotopic ratios are way off to where it's something that we would have to go out of our way to create the very small fingernail amount of, and spend $30,000 to do it. And then what we do for the long haul hoax, if we were able to do it at all back in the 70s, is we dump it on a beach in Brazil, like looking like a rock.
Yeah. Kids pick up rocks.
And Ronnie kicks them.
You
Yeah, kick rocks. All right. Ronnie, do you have any kind of space stuff? Because I could put up a little, like, a little fucking... When I'm going crazy or later tonight working on this channel, I can put up a little, like, thing right now where you're out looking at the stars right now.
Yeah. That's fair. So, yeah, I do have this one. Looks like it's not so much as anything else but an exoplanet. I guess it has... It's a very hot planet dubbed LTT9779b. Has reflective, heavy, metallic clouds. So, like, the cloud structure itself is made of, like, silicates and metals like titanium. So, super heavy clouds, and we've dubbed it to be the largest...
It's raining titanium.
Yeah, it rains titanium on this super hot planet.
Wow.
Out of these fucking just metallic clouds. I think that's very fascinating.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, we dubbed the largest mirror in the universe. Which is kind of cool, about 262 light years from Earth.
What is it called again?
LTT9779b.
I used to, Ronnie, I'm from New York, and when I was growing up, we used to know a lady named TT.
Yeah.
That would,
that's cool.
She'd cook crack in her apartment, Ronnie.
I bet it was as hot as this fucking exoplanet then.
Yeah, but you can't let it burn up.
Yeah. But yeah, this little thing reflects 80% of the light from its host star, so which outpaces the shine of our own Venus, which is said to.
Why does Venus shine?
Venus is kind of like another planet similar.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Enough to shine.
Yeah. It reflects 75% of the sun's light. And Earth only reflects about 30%.
Well, yeah, we're not.
We're not that hot here. Well, it's pretty fucking hot this summer. But there's that planet, that kind of exoplanet. Thought that was neat.
There are some hot people.
But the cooler one that I did
on this planet.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Like, we're not a reflective planet because the surface, Ronnie, of our planet is not hot enough. But maybe if we had like a bunch of girls that were kind of the best we had to offer, we put them in one place, would it be reflective?
Only if you get up there and start singing This Little Light of Mine.
I'm gonna let it shine.
Yeah.
This little light of mine.
Yeah.
That's good. Alright.
So the exact opposite of what we were just talking about, we have an unnamed planet that we're trying... It's considered a hypothetical planet.
An unnamed planet?
Yeah, so it's still considered hypothetical since we haven't been able to exactly narrow down and look at it.
And so that's why it's unnamed?
Yes. It's a strong belief that the planet is there, but we're having such a hard time seeing it and everything just due to its own structure. We've dubbed it Planet 9.
Okay. That's what the US has dubbed it, or what?
Pretty much, yeah. But it might be orbiting out past Neptune, past the Kuiper belt.
Okay.
And suggests that the whole planet itself might be comprised of dark matter.
That's crazy.
Or it's a different kind of black hole that's sitting right out there past Neptune.
Oh my God, a planet-sized one.
Yes. About 10 times the size of Earth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And even if it's a dark matter planet,
it's pretty crazy.
That's nuts. So.
Yeah, they say it might be a special kind of black hole or be made entirely of dark matter.
All right. All right, listen. What they're going to find this thing, and if it's not a terrifying discovery that it's a 10 times the size of Earth black hole, right? If it's not that, fingers crossed, right? If it's not that, and it is a planet, they're gonna come on and name. I have a great idea to end this show. We name this fucking planet right now, and if it's not a gigantic black hole, and it is a planet, we literally can sit here and say that we named this fucking thing first, believing in it, that it was a planet. What is your name of choice, or should I go first?
You go first.
TT.
I kind of figured that was coming. That's pretty fascinating.
You know, Ronnie, I know that you don't have. You're a dear friend of mine, Ronnie, but you don't have kids, and I do. When Annie was growing up, my daughter, I would tell her, oh, go in the bathroom and this and that, and it was common that if you're not taking a poo, Ronnie, at number 2, you're taking a 1. You say like, oh, you go TT.
Okay, I have a better name.
All right.
I have a better name.
What?
I like what they've kind of named it already, Planet 9, but I want them to add a second T to the end of Planet.
What?
A second T at the end of Planet.
Planet TT. I have a better idea than that. Let's. Can we shake hands actually on this one? Because I think I like where you're going. Planet. So it's TT in there, but instead of just the 9. What if we threw a 6 in front of it?
No.
Like a teenager gamer tag.
Don't do that.
TT69. No. I really, come on. Is that not, because we have to settle on a name that our show is officially naming this fucking planet before it's. So what's your official choice? If we're being honest, I don't like you throwing a separate T at the end of planet. It still sounds like Planet 9.
Yeah,
That's
but
dumb.
I got TT in it.
No.
Yeah, but hey, that's okay.
I'll settle for Plan
I think
T.
I'm gonna
I'll settle for Plan TT69.
I'm gonna let the person who actually discovers the
Fuck
planet
that shit,
reveal.
dude. Our show is naming this bitch before they were confident enough to do it. So what's your fucking name for this planet? So we can say, we named that before you.
I think they should just keep it Planet 9. I think
That's the
sounds
most boring shit ever. I'm gonna take the wheel on this
It's
bitch.
so different than
I'm
any other
doing the
planet.
editing.
Yeah.
I'll figure something out. We've officially done it, and this is
I don't think that's how it works.
Plan TT69. So that is the name of this planet, Plan TT69.
Since it lives outside the Kuiper Belt, why wouldn't you just call it Planet Kuiper?
Because these are boring names that they would
Yeah, but
name
they're
it.
more realistic. Like Earth
that's
and
what they
things.
would name it. So Ronnie is trying to name it a fucking name that they would name it. Woo! And how they... Fuck that. I want 69 in there. A sexual position, you guys. Okay, I mean, I'm just... Listen, let's
Christ.
really... And TT, so Plan TT69.
Yeah, I think they get it.
All right. So our...
But this
look
is...
at... All right,
something
he's
else
shaking
about-
my
Get
hand.
away from
Oh,
me.
he's
Get
shaking.
away
He's
from
shaking
me.
my hand right now.
No,
All right,
get
it's
away
Plan
from
TT69.
Your
When this
fucking
planet,
paws.
when they tell you, it's the planet, and now that we're sure, we'll name it, and Ronnie wants to leave the name up to these guys. Fuck that.
I
Our
think
show
it's a
did
good
it first.
idea.
Plan TT69. You got anything else, Ronnie? You got any more star stuff going on?
Well, I was trying to say some stuff about this one, but you went on a fucking dumbass rant.
No, come on.
Yeah.
Ronnie, I've already clipped this part out and nobody's watching it anymore. I have. I've
I know
clipped
you're
this
not
part out
going-
so then like
I
it's
know
a new...
you're not going to.
What do you mean?
I know you're gonna leave this in and be like,
No,
"Oh."
I'll leave it in, yeah. At the end of the full show where nobody watches that long. But what you got before this, these are gonna be for the diehards, these moments. Because what you got before this was a nice crispy click of Plan TT69 ending before I sought your approval for that name.
So fucking stupid.
I know.
The planet
I know.
itself gives off no signals that we are able to detect. So no light, no heat, no sound.
Well, that's why it's either a black hole or dark matter.
Right, so how do you think we're trying to find it?
You mean, how do you think we found it, but
How do you
don't
think
know
we're
if it's a
trying-
planet already?
Yes, how do you think we're trying to detect the
James
planet
Webb
itself?
Telescope.
Well, fascinating. We're trying, yes, kind of. We're trying to detect it through its the moons that it might have pulled in. So there might be some.
You mean, okay, I get your question now.
Yeah.
To now that we see something,
Yeah, since
to
it
decide
reflects
if
no
it is a
light,
black hole,
yeah.
it would be pulling things in towards it.
It would be. But this is acting more as a planet in a sense. So it wouldn't be like your regular black hole. They say it would be a special kind that doesn't fucking tear into everything and just create a mass of fucking just nothingness.
Why would it be a special kind that doesn't pull things into it and tear it up? I don't.
That's what they're trying to figure out. If it is something like that, it could give us a better look into black holes and the
Okay.
theories
Well,
around them.
see, so I'm a dumbass.
So that's why it's a thing about if it's that's very cool. Gives us a lot more to look at. If it's dark matter, that's cool too.
Yes.
But if it's
Either
a
way.
planet itself, then it would have its own moons around the planet.
Right.
Just like Neptune
Right.
or anything like that.
So, but here's my question.
So its own gravitational pull could have pulled these moons close enough to it, and that's how we're trying to find the planet itself, is to narrow down its moon first.
if it's a planet.
If it's a planet.
Now, here's my thing, though. I noticed you said if it's a black hole, maybe it's a different kind. How would they think? Oh, all of a sudden they're theorizing a black hole that doesn't pull everything into it.
It might
recklessly.
be. It could be a whole new.
Why would they think? I'm a dumbass, so I don't know. I mean, I don't have you expect. I don't know why
Because if
people
there
would
was an
think
actual-
that everything we knew about
Yeah.
black holes, which is not even much to begin with, they'd be like, this could be a different kind. It sounds like sometimes we get in our own way with theorizing too much.
Well, it's a thing of like we don't know what it is. If it's not a dark matter planet, we don't know what it is. So we categorize it the best we can. It's something that does not reflect
It's a
light.
dark
it doesn't
hole.
have light,
Yeah.
but it doesn't suck everything in like a black hole would.
It's a dark matter planet that's called Plan TT69. Mark my words, that's what it's going to be. It's not a black hole, because if it was a black hole, we just have to sometimes simplify things a little bit. And if it's a black hole, it's going to not have anything orbiting. It's going to pull everything in. And it won't be an exclusion to every other black hole that we've ever discovered in the universe that isn't recklessly sucking everything in that comes within its path.
Right, that's why it would be a completely different kind of black hole.
Yeah, we're getting in our way with theorizing too much.
I
That's
don't
what
think
black
we
holes
are.
do.
The universe
That's what they
is
do.
completely weird, man. Just because you have
Oh,
a
but
certain
every-
fucking black hole doesn't mean there can't be another.
Oh,
type
but
of one.
every
That's
alien
silly to think that that isn't real.
that you would have black holes be different.
Yes.
I think
Our
it's,
universe is ever expanding, my man. You never know what the fuck's out there. We don't
Well,
know
see,
what's
I
out
love
there.
that. I do love that, Ronnie.
So
And
you're
then
trying to
the
narrow it
you
down
know
to why
what?
isn't it acting like a black hole when it's supposed to be something similar to a black hole,
And you
but
know
not a
what?
black
In
hole?
the spirit of that, I do like what you're saying. That's kind of a motto I use about aliens. And as somebody who is a non-believer in that they've even come here, you do believe they're out there.
I mean, there's got to be something.
You really like if you
There's
had to
no way in
stake your
hell we're
life
alone.
on it,
Yeah,
though.
there's no way in hell we're alone.
Yeah. So you do believe. So we meet each other there, but
Yeah.
you don't really believe they've come here, do you?
I don't
Just be
think.
honest.
I don't think they've come here. No.
You don't think they've come here. So
I do
think,
firmly like your theory about
Okay.
satellites.
and I really
they
do
themselves
appreciate
have
that.
not been
I'm
here, but I
actually
do
not
think
being
that they've
silly
been
and a dick here. I appreciate you saying that. And what I'm saying is that the same way that I would present this theory to you, like, okay, so like, yeah, like, who are you to say like these things can be explained that are on camera and documented, but yet they literally can't. They literally can't be explained. These materials we talked about today that people are in possession of, that the isotopes don't match, in the case of Gary Nolan, the case of Avi Loeb running the sled along the ocean and finding things that don't make sense, that said they are from outside of our solar system. And you know what? The thing wasn't from just, a meteorite crash. A lot of people say that was a UFO. So like, there's a lot of stuff that we have here where we can't be certain. But I think it's enough to grant that maybe they really have been here. And so when you say there's a planet out, it's either a dark matter planet, or they're theorizing, even though this is the definition of a theory,
reason, yeah.
we have nothing to go off, and some asshole
kind
was
of
like,
do. It's
well,
we're
all
looking-
the black holes we've seen pull everything in, but this one, I think it might be one, but it's different and doesn't pull everything in. I think
You wanna
is
know
a
why
little
they say
bit
that,
bullshit
though?
where we're getting in our own way
But
of
you
science.
want to know why they say it? It's because the way that we're looking for this planet or whatever it could be is the same way we look for black holes. The way that we look for black holes is by trying to use the light around it itself to be able to reflect anything.
But so if it was
So
a dark
we're having-
matter planet,
it's
which
the
they
same
mentioned,
process, yeah.
then it would be we would find it under that process.
Same process. Yeah.
Okay, and now
That's why it can only be one of two things.
Okay, right. And so now, have we ever found a black hole ever that doesn't pull everything in recklessly?
No,
that's
but
in
what
its
if we
path?
did? It could.
It's
what
a
if
black.
we did?
It's a dark matter planet. I'm gonna call that right now. It's a dark matter planet. Let's not get in our own way and say that. What if it was an alien spacecraft?
How about this one? How about this one?
What if it's an alien? Hey, what if it's TT? What if it's their old friend TT from that apartment where they used to cook crack and she just spread her asshole open? You know what I'm saying? What if it's her and she's out there in a gigantic form?
I'm gonna throw another theory out there for you.
And the darker the berry, the sweeter it is when it turns out to be a dark matter planet named Plan TT69.
Here's another theory. Maybe that's where all this space junk is coming from. Is from this planet. Maybe there's life down on there, and they've created like a cloaking device.
Oh, Ronnie. See, Ronnie, for somebody who makes fun, you really were for a second there before this, trying to die on that hill like, I think that's crazy. Of course it could be an alien starship, that because we can't disprove that when we look for these things. Listen, we're going to go out on this. I'm not the science guy. Actually, Ronnie is. He looks into this stuff more than I do. I'm just here to talk about aliens, but let me tell you something. We've never found a black hole that doesn't recklessly pull everything in around it in its path and eat that shit up, dude. Okay, that's what a black hole is. And so mark my words, Plan TT69 is the name when they figure out that this fucking thing is a dark matter planet and not an
10 times the size of
exclusion to every black hole we've ever found in the universe now being working in another physical dimension where physics and science doesn't apply.
You don't know.